love him so. When he flips that dough, he's Pizza Boy USA.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the new 2020 Dodge Durango, courtesy of Stettler Dodge Jeep Ram in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so, wanted to check out this one because you guys requested it, for one. Also, this is a truly American-made SUV, 100% made in Detroit. 0% financing for 84 months going on right now. May not be when you guys are actually watching this video, but as of now, that is a heck of a deal, let me tell you. But so anyways, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. It said there will be several different trim levels available for the 2020 Dodge Durango. First one being SXT, starting at $30,795. SXT Plus for $34,990. GT for $34,995. GT Plus for $39,495. Citadel for $42,995. RT, which actually is the one we have today, starting at $44,395. Citadel Anodized Platinum for $46,270. And lastly, the SRT Beast of an SUV, $62,995. And so for all of that pricing, that was all for the rear-wheel drive configuration, with the exception of that last trim level that comes standard all-wheel drive. If you wanted to add all-wheel drive to any of those trims, but the last one, simply add $2,600 to any of those prices. And so, as you can imagine, with that many trim levels, there are a few different engine configurations available for the Durango as well. And so, but the first engine configuration, belonging to all trim levels but the RT and the SRT, is going to be a 3.6 liter naturally aspirated V6, putting out 293 horsepower at 6,400 RPM, 260 pound-feet of torque, available at 4,000 RPM, sent to the rear wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters if you go with the GT trim level and up. And 0 to 60 time for that one comes in at approximately 7.4 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 19 city, 26 highway for the rear wheel drive, 18 city, 25 on the highway for the all-wheel drive configuration. And but so then the next engine configuration, belonging to the trim level that we have today, being the RT, is going to be a 5.7 liter naturally aspirated Hemi V8, putting out 360 horsepower, around 5,100 RPM, 390 pound-feet of torque, approximately 4,200 RPM, sent to rear wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters once again. And 0 to 60 time for this particular engine configuration comes in at 6.2 seconds, which we will be testing out in a little bit here, with MPG numbers coming in at 14 in the city, 22 highway for the rear wheel drive, and the exact same thing for the all-wheel drive. So just get the all-wheel drive configuration for this one. So last engine configuration, belonging to the SRT, 6.4 liter Hemi V8, 475 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 470 pound-feet of torque, available at 4,300 RPM, sent to all four wheels through the 8-speed automatic. 0 to 60 time, approximately 4.7 seconds, which is ridiculous for a 3-row SUV. And MPG numbers coming in at 13 in the city, 19 on the highway. And so before we do the paddle shifter test, the acceleration test, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. So depending upon the trim level that you go with will depend upon the drive modes that you actually get, but ultimately drive modes available are going to be normal, eco, sport, track, snow, and valet. And you can imagine the track is going to be reserved for the SRT. I see the sport button just in front of the shifter here. We're going to go ahead and hit that before we do any kind of acceleration test, but ultimately those drive modes will adjust things like the throttle response, shift points, the suspension damping, steering sensitivity, and the traction control systems or electronic stability control. So having mentioned all of that, now let's go ahead and press that sport button there, and let's go ahead and get set up. Let's do a quick little paddle shifter test here first. Let's see how quickly these paddle shifters are actually going to react for us here. All right, so we got our straightaway. You ready, guys? 3, 2, 1, go. Whoa. Definitely quick, definitely quick. I always like to see if I can hear an engine pop or an engine sound when I hit the paddle shifters when it switches gears, but nothing like that. But the paddle shifters are ridiculously quick. The second you hit them, it immediately changes gears. So absolutely no issues for me whatsoever. And by the way, when I did that paddle shifter test, I slid the shifter all the way to the back and to the left. That actually gave me full control of the shifting, and the Durango is still not shifting for me until I slide it back to the right, of course. But that is pretty cool to have a manual shift mode there in case you wanted to play around, or in case you wanted to use the Durango for engine braking in the snow perhaps. But having done that, now let's do a quick little acceleration test here, giving full control back to the Durango, and let's see how quickly this Durango here can get us up to speed. Out we go! Whoa, nice sound. This thing gets loud. Wow, certainly no issues emerging onto the highway. This thing is a beast. That was fun. Not expected for a 3-row SUV, quite honestly, but still 0 to 60 at 6.2 is pretty darn quick. It's not going to be the SRT kind of quick, but still plenty of an acceleration with merging onto the highway, or even for having some fun in a 3-row SUV, which is kind of an oxymoron. So anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so as you can imagine, there will be slightly different configurations for the braking dependent upon the trim levels that you go with. And so for example, for the SXT and GT trim levels, you will find 13-inch ventilated front and rear discs. For the Citadel and RT, you will find 13.8-inch ventilated front discs, 13-inch solid rear discs. And for the SRT, up front, you're gonna get 15-inch ventilated front discs with 13.8-inch rear disc. Brembo calipers, by the way, for that setup, finished in red. That is pretty cool. As far as the braking feel goes, it surprised me actually. It's a little bit on the softer side. And so I guess with 3-row SUVs, that's pretty standard. But with the RT and the SRT, I would have expected it to be a little bit firmer, I guess you could say, because they are a little bit sportier in nature, yet still 3-row SUVs, but it is definitely a softer braking feel, which again isn't a bad thing. It's just expected differently since it's a 3-row SUV, that's all. Touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get a short and long arm front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension. As far as the ride quality goes, as we are going over that massive speed bump, that is one of the things I have always said whenever I review a Durango. It's absolutely amazing. It's an incredibly smooth ride compared to a lot of the other 3-row SUVs out there, I will say that. As far as steering feel goes, it's perfectly fine, especially when you change up the driving mode. That does adjust that a little bit as well. So if you put it in that sport driving mode, steering feel is going to be a bit weightier than it otherwise would be. So a little something for everybody there. As far as cabin noise goes, it's been perfectly fine for me, especially when you hit the gas. I love the sound this thing makes, this Hemi engine makes when you really get on the gas. It's absolutely wonderful. But so touching on visibility, I actually can see perfectly fine. I will say those 3rd-row headrests can be pushed down, which I did before I started driving this one, because if you don't have any 3rd-row passengers, it's always a good thing to do to increase visibility. Although with the 3rd-row headrests up, I'm sure you're going to have some issues, a little bit more issues at least with visibility, but without that, I can see perfectly fine. It's absolutely no issues for me whatsoever. Rain sensing windshield wipers actually do come standard on the Citadel trim level and up. Essentially what that is when the Durango detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it is going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers for you. One less thing you got to worry about, so you can better focus more of your attention on actually enjoying the drive. So that is a big old plus there as well. But that is about it for the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of this beautiful 2020 Dodge Durango. And so here she is, you guys, the 2020 Dodge Durango, finished in a granite clear coat exterior. For anybody who is curious on this one, let's go ahead and start up front, because the front end is going to differ slightly depending upon the trim level that you go with. For example, you will find chrome crossbar style front grille if you were to go with the SXT trims, or the Citadel trim actually as well. Otherwise, you will get the black mesh front grille you're currently looking at, belonging to the GT, RT, and SRT trim levels actually. And let me show you guys up top here on the hood, there's actually functional hood ventilation, not only in the front, but also on the sides here. This all assists with engine cooling to keep the engine from overheating. So I love that the Durango comes with this, especially since it's got that Hemi under the hood. But anyways, taking a look at the headlights now, halogen headlights come with the SXT trims and the GT trims. HID headlights come with the Citadel trims, RT, SRT, and of course, regardless of which headlight configuration you go with, you will find the automatic feature, meaning when it starts to get dark out at night, those headlights are going to turn on automatically for you there. And you will find LED daytime running lights just below those headlight bezels as well. And then just below it all, fog lights in the halogen form for the SXT trims and the Citadel trim levels, LED fog lights belonging to the GT trims, RT, and SRT trim levels. But now, let's go ahead and make our way now to the side of the Durango here. Roof rails coming standard with the SXT Plus and Citadel trim levels. Rear privacy glass, of course, standard across the board there. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored, power adjustable, heated side mirrors for every single trim level. And if you were to go with the Citadel trim level and up, you're actually going to get LED integrated turd signals as well. Take a look down at the bottom, you will find matte black side skirts for the SXT trim levels. However, if you were to go with the GT trim level and up, you're actually going to get body colored side skirts, which look a heck of a lot better, in my personal opinion, a little more high-end look to them. Take a look down at the wheel setup, 18 by 8 inch aluminum alloys for the SXT trims, 20 by 8 inch alloy wheels for the GT, Citadel, and RT trim levels, and 20 by 10 inch gloss black double 5-spoke wheels, a little wider configuration there for the SRT trim level for a little extra grip, seeing as the power is ridiculous. So, and of course you got that Hemi badging on the front fender, seeing as we have the Hemi engine here today. That's going to of course apply to the RT and the SRT trim levels. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the back of the Durango. Shark fin antenna up top there as expected. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. You got a rear window wiper of course as well. And then what Dodge kind of pioneered, I would say, is the LED racetrack style taillight setup. I absolutely love it. Now everybody's trying to copy off of Dodge in my opinion, but anyways, Dodge badging within those taillights of course, and a single exhaust for the SXT trim level. Let me get down a little bit lower here so I can show you guys. Dual exhaust outlets with chrome tips for the GT trims, Citadel, and RT trim levels, and of course SRT is going to give you slightly larger exhaust outlets as well. But nonetheless, I think you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. It's been now since we are around back. When it comes to opening that rear lift gate, there is a button on the key fob itself. You simply press that twice. That is one way to go ahead and open it up. It's also a button on the lift gate itself as well. And by the way, it is a power lift gate if you go with the GT Plus trim level and up. Otherwise, it is a manual lift gate. So I did want to mention that as well. But nonetheless, once opened up, cargo capacity behind that third row comes in at 17.2 cubic feet. If you were to fold that down behind the second row, it bumps it up to 47.7 cubic feet, and with all rows folded, coming in at 84.5 cubic feet. So definitely a decent amount back there. Pretty on par for the course. It's right around what the Honda Pilot and Toyota Highlander are. So, but it did want to also mention, you do have grocery hooks back there. You do have cargo tie down anchors. You do have a good bit of in-floor storage back there as well. So a ton going on in that cargo area. Really just about everything you would need back there. But making our way to the rear legroom, third row legroom comes in at 31.5 inches. So for reference, I am an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had back there. I did want to mention there are 2 seats in the third row of the Durango. Sometimes 3-row SUVs come with 3 seats, sometimes it comes with 2. So wanted to mention that though. But also rear ventilation coming standard on the roof or the ceiling of the Durango here for all 3 rows. So all 3 rows are always comfortable, so that's always good too. But making our way now to the second row, 38.6 inches when it comes to that rear legroom. Again, 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had back there. Also, when it comes to that second row, you can get it either with a bench seating configuration or captain's chairs, meaning 3 or 2 seats. It's completely up to you. Did want to also mention though, for that second row, you can get rear heated seats for the GT Plus trim level and up. So if you're the type of person that wants to spoil your kids with some heated seats, that's going to be there for you there. But Dodge didn't stop there with this particular configuration. At least you also get dual USB charging ports. There is a 115 volt power outlet to charge up tools or hair dryer or whatever. This particular Durango that we have today has the optional DVD/Blu-ray player configuration with those 2 tablet style screens asphyxiated to the back of the front seat headrests. That goes for $1,995, but of course you can play DVDs or Blu-rays, and quite honestly, that is a brilliant idea. And yes, the kids can use tablets, I suppose, in the back, but I gotta say this is pretty darn cool as well. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and make our way up now to the front seats. Manually adjustable cloth seating coming with the SXT, 8-way power driver's seat with the SXT Plus and GT trims. GT Plus is actually going to add to that heated front seats, a power adjustable passenger seat, and there will be a suede leather combination for that as well, including the RT trim level, although a full leather seating is optional there. Citadel actually adds that full leather seating as well, and the Citadel Anodized Platinum does give you ventilated front seats added onto that. So quite a bit going on with the seating, I guess you could say. But so then taking a look at the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped for all trims. Also decent 10-2 grips, a little bit on the thicker side, not quite as thick as BMW, but definitely a little thicker grips than you're used to in 3-row SUVs at least. So I do like that. And take a look at the startup. Let me first start by showing you guys the key here. You do have your Dodge logo on the one side, and when you flip it over, lock, unlock the button to pop the rear hatch, and then the ×2 button is going to be a remote start. And that actually comes with the GT Plus trim level and up, meaning you can start up the Durango without actually being inside of it, so you could heat it or cool it down before you actually get inside. So that's always good. But all trim levels are going to give you a push button start located just by the driver's right knee. So all I'm going to do is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button there. And so, but then once started up, a very large digital display front and center, but tachometer on the left, speedometer front and center, and then your fuel information and engine temp is going to be to the right. But to control what is on that large digital display, you actually have steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side there, giving you different safety information, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, when you need your next oil change. Of course, you could set up a digital speedometer up there if you wanted to. That's probably what I would leave it on, but ultimately very customizable, so you could really configure it to whatever your liking is there. Touching on overall interior quality, a power sunroof comes with the Citadel trim levels. However, it is available for the SRT and GT Plus trim levels and the RT that we have today. So that is what you're looking at right now. Dual zone climate control comes standard on all trim levels. Also, the Citadel Anodized Platinum gets somewhat of a simulated suede headliner. That's pretty cool there. Overhead sunglass holder coming standard across the board. And there actually are garage door openers for up to 3 different garage doors found just in front of that overhead sunglass holder as well. And I do like the imitation carbon fiber look just on top of the passenger side glove box. It does tie into the doors, but I absolutely love the black-red color combination that we have in this particular Durango. Makes it look so stinking cool. I love that the seats are all completely red. Such a nice look to this one. But just in front of the shifter, you have a 12-volt power outlet, dual USB charging ports, auxiliary port. Just behind that, you have dual cup holders, a little bit of storage area there as well. And within that center armrest, because we have that rear entertainment configuration, there actually is a slot to put in the Blu-ray right there, in case you're wondering where you're going to go ahead and do that. And there's a 12-volt power outlet there and just a little bit of storage there too. But that is where you're going to find that. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the tech display. 7-inch color touchscreen display coming with the SXT and GT trim levels. 8.4-inch color touchscreen display coming with the Citadel trim level and up. And that is, of course, what you are looking at right now. Actually, Bluetooth and audio streaming comes standard either way. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay also standard either way. So really, you have free navigation, even on the SXT trim level of the Durango because of that. So I love that. Factory navigation system is available as an option. If you wanted it, you could check out your climate control information up there as well. And of course, your radio information. And so, by the way, when it comes to the sound systems on this one, 6 speakers coming with the SXT trims, the GT trim levels, 9 speakers coming with the Citadel, RT, and SRT trims. However, there is an optional sound system that we do indeed have here today, being the 19-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, which goes for $995, 800 plus watts. I am quite excited to test this one out. You guys know we always have to. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Crazy amount of bass with that sound system. My goodness. Bowers & Wilkins is still my #1 just because of the clarity there, but dang, that is plenty of clarity. Ridiculous amount of bass. It almost rumbles the seats, definitely rumbling my feet on the floor of the Durango here. So that was absolutely amazing. Not sure if you need that kind of a sound system in a 3-row SUV, but it's freaking awesome if you did want it. But so then last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that tech display is when you do put the Durango in reverse, you will find a rear view camera across the board, letting you know who or what is behind you, which is always is going to lead us into safety. And so to start, front, side, and side curtain airbags will come standard. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Also rear child door locks back there. There is a blind spot monitor with a rear cross traffic alert that comes as an option for $495 if you wanted to go that route. Also, there is a technology group that goes for $2,495. That gives you adaptive cruise control with stop and go, advanced brake assist, forward collision warning, and lane departure warning as well. And so, but when it comes down to it, in the end, my final thoughts of the 2020 Dodge Durango: incredibly smooth ride. I say that every single year I review the Durango. It really is a very nice smooth ride, especially for its class. It's not even a luxury SUV, but really the ride is wonderful. Love that sound system in this thing. I'm surprised a 3-row SUV even offers a sound system like that, so I'm a big fan of that. Very nice digital gauge setup, very nice power with this Hemi V8. I guess that's to be expected, right? Wouldn't have minded if the blind spot monitoring system came standard on this one. That is one of those safety features I think should at least be standard on 3-row SUVs, as it is quite often on other 3-row SUVs in its segment. Also wouldn't have minded some rear window sunshades in the back as well. Of course, we don't have them here on our RT trim level either, but ultimately a very, very solid pick here. Love that it's 100% made here in the US, made in Detroit, so love that as well. And again, a very smooth ride. I think that's always the first thing I noticed in this one. But that about rounds out this review, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media at the bottom of the screen there if you like. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel after all. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.